Let us talk about gods and deity and their role in our African life. There's this video that is generating outrage in online spaces in which children were recorded being forced to recite Hindu prayers in order to receive food. Please listen.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare.
Everybody is very angry over these children reciting this prayer. But my primary question is, why don't these children have food in the first place? I mean, this is 21st century, and we Africans should have sorted out our food problems. Every school should be having its own mechanism of feeding itself, and the government should also have functional mechanism for feeding our children. But we have substituted that with extreme religiosity that is not really helping. If you are outraged like the media houses and any other person that is very angry over this thing, I want to invite your authority to questioning one thing. Why are you angry? I'm also asking myself that question. Am I angry because I'm jealous? Because the God I was taught, the God that I was made to also practice in schools, in high schools, in other places, that probably parents of these children have also been appealing to for many years, have been unable to give these children food. Are we angry because these children are saying Hare Krishna instead of saying Hail Mary or Allahu Akbar or other things that we've been saying for so long that have not been helping us to solve our living problems? Because I have come to think, conclude, if a higher being created us, which I believe happened, the primary way of appealing or worshipping that being is being safe for ourselves, is making our lives better, is producing all our needs and having it in surplus so that we can maintain this beautiful system that they made that it can express itself in the highest form of both production, social life, technology, and everything, music, and everything. I don't believe in the slightest belief that the primary role of being alive is pleasing or appealing to some deity in which will be useful in the afterlife and not in this life. I don't subscribe to such maybe probably sick ways. But let's think about it. In this tropical paradise, this republic of ours, in which every food can grow, which wheat, maize, sorghum, millet, cassava, in which animal proteins, including cows, sheep, goats, rabbits, and everything that can be eaten can develop and thrive here. How comes we don't have food? If, and I'm asking, if you think that this is the only hungry school in Kenya, please note in the comment. But I can challenge everybody who are a survey in this beautiful republic and find that there are many schools that are hungry. There are many children that are hungry. And my question is, why haven't we been able to produce enough food for ourselves and have instead turned ourselves into these extreme religious practices instead of minding the primary function of being alive, which is sustaining life? I can bet everything that it would have been more useful for these children and others engaging in such religious practices to be taught of how to grow food or to engage in practical lessons of how to grow food before meals than engaging in this healing and appealing to some deities that really do not care about us. Or am I missing something? I mean, and as I said before, the problem is not only in this school. I have been around this country, including in our drier areas, where children are forced to engage in these religious practices, saying prayers, singing, and everything. And at the end of the day, they go to home hungry. Sometimes they don't show up to school because of hunger. Sometimes they don't have supplies, can't access books, good bags, good schools, good shoes. And at the end of the day, they are staunchly taught of these religious practices like they are everything a human needs to live, which I find interesting. Can't we at least have a religion or religious practices that encourage people to care for these systems of life that our Creator used so much time and resources to create? Can't we primarily focus on producing enough food for us and our children so that none of us live in this extreme and shaping thing? And note, this Muindi who brought this food to this school was not here practicing the religion himself. He probably returned to where he was, maybe in Magadi to export Kenyan trona, or in other place to maximize profit, to build industry, while our children are taught of these extreme religious practices that cannot help everybody. Also not the European and the religion they brought. While our forefathers were practicing it and singing and doing everything and praying, Zungu took the best of land of this republic, which he's been using to produce coffee and tea and pineapples and things that we cannot use, the things that we cannot use to fight hunger, which he exports and make profit for his own food, leaving our country with food deficit, such that a country like ours cannot produce enough food. Isn't it high time we thought about these religious practices? Or even the one brought by the Arabs, in which they only built uh, houses of worship, but cannot teach anybody to engage in production. All these religions never bring technology. They never bring healthcare. And if they do, it's the system of control. An African never really gets power and resources and free teachings that can help them engage primarily in production. I mean, because if I was asked, I would say the main problem of an African of us should be producing enough for ourselves, for our needs. And then everybody of us can then be allowed to practice their religion as a practice, as a private thing. I'm pretty sure none of these children seen in this video, like any other children, school-going children that are introduced into religion, can make decisions of their own. And at this early age, instead of them being taught to primarily focus on production, on caring for their needs and caring for the environment, they are taught these practices that at the end of the day only enforce subjugation that I really don't understand. I find it sad, regrettable that we might continue another century in this kind of retrogression of these mind games that will only leave Africans hungry, poor, and lost in their disease. Kindly help me think through this thing. Thank you. Like, share, and comment, and feel free to engage with me. Context channel